Alright, well hello there and welcome back to another Pokemon Master Datamine analysis video. I'm going to be doing the analysis of the Datamine we got at the end of August 2023, which is also the 4th anniversary Datamine. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I'm telling you now, spoiler alert, if you don't want to be spoiled about next month's content, of course, I'm only going to be talking about the characters and their sync grids, not really going to be talking about stories and stuff. However, by seeing the characters, you will kind of get spoiled by what stories can happen. So I'm just going to mention that before. If you don't want to spoil, don't stop watching. Stop. All right. Now let's just get into the video. Guys, I actually already recorded this video once. Like I already recorded it once. Like look at this. I recorded the whole thing and I did, there was no audio. I should have known. I should have known there was no audio and yeah, I just an hour. Okay, now. However, I have a chance of redoing it and making it less than an hour. That being said, though, yeah, my throat's gonna hurt really bad, and I hate my life. But also, I also want to mention that I want to thank you guys in advance if you're watching this video and watch it all the way. I know these videos might not be the most fun or educational, just because I'm not really going too hard. But you know, it's fun for me to make, and that's why I'm doing it again. It's fun for me to make, and also, you know, it's just a little fun. Just a little fun for me to make, and hopefully you guys enjoy it along with me. But let's just get into it. I've already done this video, so let's do it again. The new sync pairs are going to be added. I'm actually going to make two parts because there's a lot of sync pairs being added, because anniversary, a lot of sync pairs are being added. So this video, I'm going to be talking about the new sync pairs of Champion Blue, Champion Red, Champion Leaf, Trainer Lounge Leaf, as well as Palmer, Argenta, and Paulo and Tina. I'm going to be talking about those same pairs. And the next video, which I'm probably not going to record today because my throat's already killing me, I'm going to talk about the Team Rocket characters that we're going to get added to the game, and also the Battle Point characters that are going to be added very soon. So yeah, let's just jump into it. We have the Neo Champion Red. We have Neo Champion Red. He's going to be a striker. And let me just charge my phone, because I was using my phone for notes to hopefully make this video go by faster. A striker that has Articuno, and the master passive is going to be buffing special attack, similarly to, I think, Ethan and Lugia also have the same passive, which buffs special attack. And I think that also, I want to say, Neo Champion How, I think. But anyways, or Hop, I should say, New Champion Hop. But anyways, the interesting pass that we want to talk about, Journey from Palette, which Pokemon moves never miss. Only Blizzard can miss because there's 70% accuracy, but having Blizzard never miss is pretty good. Note that Blizzard also never misses in Hailstorm, so I mean, a nice bonus, never worry about that. Increases the user's special move up next effect by 1 after a user attack move. Hits attack move being probably Blizzard and Buddy Ice Beam here. Frozen Wing Ice Beam, which is a Buddy move. And the more the user's special attack up next effect is increased, the more damage it does with a sync move. So that's very important to keep in mind. I'll really be talking about this single line a lot later on. Shimmering White Snow lowers the target's ice type rebuff by 1 the first time the user attack move is successful each battle. So after using Blizzard, it applies the ice type rebuff by 1 rank. Now my question is, and the same question I had last time I recorded this, Blizzard hits all the enemies. Does this rebuff does it hit everybody, or is it just the one target? Like, I'm not exactly sure. I would assume it hits everybody. And also lowers the type rebuff by 1 first time you use a sync move. And it can only happen once. Again, Articuno, since it's a striker, sync move hits all enemies. So does rebuff hit everybody because of Blizzard hitting everybody and the sync move hitting everybody if Red is at 6 star? I'm not exactly sure. That's something we need to be testing out. But also, this passive is very similar to Blue and Leaf. They all have a passive which grants rebuff 1 time after they use a certain move, and then they grant rebuff 1 time after using a sync move. And again, since Red is the only striker, the sync move hits everybody. So does rebuff apply to everybody? Because applying to everybody is really important. Also, there is, the mic is on, right? The mic is on. I'm not recording this again if the mic is off. I probably should have checked if the mic's on. But if I talk really loudly, then the mic gets red, so it surely is on. All right. Anyways, the Pokemon, if it uses a normal move or a sync move, always crits, which is super strong. Can consistently crit. You don't need to worry about your sync move missing crit. Looking at these stats, the special attack and the special attack, which is the only stat that really matters for the attacks, right? Is pretty low, not even 400. Keep in mind though that this unit is very powerful, so even though they have a low attack stat, it makes up for it because of very strong things that you can do with this unit. Again, we already mentioned Blizzard. They have Protect, which is very interesting. This is going to be very useful later on. But Protect is always good on a striker just because it prevents them from getting hit once. And then Glory of the Winning Path reduces this user sync move countdown by 1, which honestly doesn't matter. Raises special attack by 6. That's pretty good. And because if you use this move, your attack is going to be fully maxed out, and then you always land crits. So your attack will be maxed out in terms of how much it can do. And then also increase the user special move up next effect by 2. And then that's pretty good. Frozen Wing Ice Beam. Similarly to all the other Neo Champion units, they have a move that activates when at least one Pokemon has any rebuff, and then it deactivates when there's no longer rebuff. Keep in mind that if Blizzard does apply rebuff to everybody, then you can use this move even after the middle Pokemon gets defeated, which is pretty strong. But this move ignores passive that will reduce damage of this attack, so that's pretty good in Legendary Arena, right? And ignores passive that will protect against critical hit, so it will land crit. And ignores your target's enduring effect, so that's pretty good. And then it leaves the target frozen. Notice that this is a 100% chance of freezing, as well as this move, you have infinite amount of uses, as long as there is a rebuff on the opponent's side. So yes, infinite freezing, that's very fun. But yeah, if you've noticed the kit, there's something very interesting that I think you can do. And the sequencing is, I think when you start off the battle, I think a good sequence is that you would Blizzard. Because when you Blizzard, even though you're not getting the buff from the special attack by using a Glory of Winning Path, you use Blizzard first, which gives you the special move up next effect. Right? After you use attack move. And it also applies rebuff. And then you use Protect, because you don't want to waste that special move up next effect. And then you use a Glory of the Winning Path, which fully raises your special attack, and it raises your special move up next effect by 2. All right, so now you have a total of 3 special move up next effect before you use your sync move, because 1, 2, 3, you would have used 3 moves at this point, and then you use your sync move. This sync move, by the way, does apply the ice rebuff to everybody. I think if it hits everybody, it applies to everybody, right? So you get that rebuff. And also keep in mind that you have 3 special move up next effect. So the Journey to Palette passive, the more the special move increase, the more it powers up sync move. Then that will do a lot of damage. And then finally, you can use your Frozen Wings Ice Beam. Here, when you use your Frozen Wings Ice Beam, you have buff from the 2 ice rebuffs. You'll have the 3 special move up next effect. And you'll also have, max stats. Max stats as in your max special attack and whatnot. You'll also have a little bit of a sync buff. You'll also have the passive, the Kanto Spear, to raise your special attack. And so I think that your Ice Beam would do a lot of damage. Alright, now let's look at the sync grid. What the heck? This shouldn't be here. Now let's look at the sync grid. Now, keeping the special move up next effect in mind, that's what I built the sync grid around at 5 copies. Having these 2 tiles selected, the Protect move special boost up next effect 9, and having the Glory of Winning Path special boost up to 9, if you use Protect and you use the trainer move, you get 4 total additional special move up next effects if you use Protect and trainer move. So that's why it's super important you use Blizzard first, because if you use Blizzard first, you get 1 from the Journey to Palette passive, and then you get 2 more if you use Protect second. So you have a total of 3, and then you get a total of 4 more if you use Glory of Winning Path. So you get 2 more from the move itself, and then you get 2 more from the sync grid tile, totaling up to 7 special move up next effect. All right. So when you have 7 a special move up next effect, then surely the sync move is going to do tons of damage because of the journey from palette passive. On top of that, your first Frozen Wings Ice Beam should do a lot of damage. It should do a lot of damage because you have 7 special move up next effect buffs on top of all the other buffs that you're going to have. Doesn't that sound crazy? This theory crafted sync grid, I feel like Ash is going to be, Red is going to be doing a lot of damage. The first sync move is going to do a lot of damage, and the first Frozen Wings Ice Beam is going to do a lot of damage. We also have Furious Brain selected, so that the more special attack is raised, the more your moves are going to be doing, so that your Frozen Wing Ice Beam is going to even do more damage. Other tiles that I think is good is Discombobulate, being able to lower accuracy. There's also some Hail tiles if you want to do a Hail build. Because, I mean, you could use Hail to further increase damage. Again, if you have Irida, you have the Irida Master Fair passive, but you also have Irida Ice Zone and Hail. So Red does even more damage with his first initial sync move, and also his first Frozen Wing Ice Beam. And then we also have Brain Power, which if you want to do more sync move damage, you could with Brain Power. And also Recharging Strike, so that your Ice Beam basically costs 1. Because Ice Beam costs 2, and then you get 1 charge. You get 1 move gauge charge after you use Ice Beam. So I think that's a lot of damage there. Well, hold up. We can do more damage. How can we do more damage? Well, let's go to our second sync. Our second Neo Champion sync pair is going to be Champion Blue. He's a support pair, and he has Zapdos here. And Zapdos, just your normal Flag Bearer passive, and then he has Pride from Palette passive, which raises defense and special defense of all same pair by 1 every time attack move is successful. Now, an attack move, I'm a bit confused about this as well. I'm not sure if a attack move, obviously Discharge, I think counts as an attack move, but does your trainer moves like X Speed all count? And Thundering Wings Roost, it's a flying move, so it's not like a trainer move. It uses move gauges. But does that also count as an attack move? I'm assuming that attack move only counts towards a Discharge. But I could be wrong. It could count more. But let's just limit it to Discharge at this moment, because I'm not exactly sure. So every time you use Discharge, your attack or your special defense and defense gets raised by all your allies by 1. It also applies to free move next effect after you use attack move successful. So use Discharge. Your first Discharge will cost 3, but then your subsequent Discharge will be free, or your subsequent other moves will be free, because your other moves do use Gauge. And has a 30% chance of target being flinched after you use an attack. So, Discharge has a 30% chance of flinching as well, but keep in mind, Discharge hits all opponents, so there's a 30% chance of all your opponents being flinched. Keep in mind that even though one gets flinched, I don't think the rest get flinched. I think all the flinches chance gets counted independently. I'm pretty sure that's how it works, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I think that all the flinch chance get calculated independently. As opposed to like going viral, which if it hits, then all of them hit. But anyways, Roaring White Lightning, again, same thing as Red. If you use a move and it hits. If you use Discharge and it hits, you get the electric type rebuff on the opponent, but also if you use a sync move, you get an additional electric type rebuff, and so you can get 2 rebuffs if you use a sync move. And again, you would probably want to use the sync move on Blue because it is a support unit, and so you would get double buffs. Also, Team S move power up. So your sync moves get power up for all your sync pairs. So as long as you have Zapdos on your party, your sync moves do a little bit more damage. That's pretty good. Looking at these stats here, I want to bring attention to the special defense and HP. They are very high. HP 800, that's pretty good. Special defense and defense both being over 350 at level 150 and at max potential is super strong. So Zapdos are going to be able to take a lot of hits. And also the speed is 400. Zapdos speed is pretty good too. We also talked about Discharge, but let's talk more about speed. X Speed All Plus. So Zapdos, after using X Speed All Plus twice, can fully raise speed, which is pretty good because as a support sync pair, you want to be able to help out with your move gauge economy, and Zapdos definitely does with this by raising speed fully. And let's talk about Glory of Leadership. So always raises crit rate by 3 of all your ally sync pairs. That right there is already really good for a support sync pair, being able to fully raise crit of all your allies. But also there's a chance you can use a maximum of 3 slots of the user's move gauge. And if you use 3 slots total, you can fully raise special attack of all your ally sync pairs. That's super strong as well. One move can fully raise the crit rate and special attack of all your ally sync pairs. If you use 3 move gauge. That's super powerful. And it also increases the special move up next effect of all ally sync pairs by 2. Alright, so if you use this move, again, it doesn't matter. I don't think this counts. I don't think it matters how much sync gauge you use. I think you always raise 2. Keep in mind, red can raise 7 at 5 copies. And so if you use blue's trainer move, Glory to Victory there, you can get 2 more, totaling of 9 special move up next effects. So holy crap, your sync move is going to do so much damage, and then your first ice beam is also going to do so much damage. Wow, that's a lot of damage. Zapdos also has a Thundering Wings Roost, which is going to be the move to activate when you have rebuff and deactivate when there's no rebuff. And it restores HP of all allies by 30%, which is super good. And then also restores Zapdos an additional 30%, so Zapdos gets healed 60% while your other allies get healed 30%. Also removes stats conditions, which is super helpful because just in case you get randomly burned or confused or whatnot, this helps ensure that your tank, which is going to be your Zapdos, doesn't die. And it also really helps with the Champion Stadium stages where sometimes a paralysis and burn gets inflicted to all your allies. Also, you get to apply the gradual healing effect to all your ally sync pairs, which is super strong too, because you just get more healing. You just get a lot of healing from Zapdos here. Now, Zapdos already seems like he can do a lot, right? He can inflict stats condition, because discharge does inflict stats condition. He can inflict flinching. He can buff your sync moves. He can raise your crit. He can raise your special attack. He can heal. He can fully raise your speed. Wow, he does a lot. Well, let's see what else he can do with his sync grid. Blue, with this sync grid, I have discharge, satisfy Snicker 9, and discharge overwhelm 9. So discharge can lower attack and special attack now, but keep in mind discharge is AoE, so now it can lower attack and special attack of all the allies. Also, discharge can now confuse using this tile of Gobsmack 2, and then discharge. I'm sorry, not discharge, but after you use a sync move, you can lower all your targets, or you can lower the target's defense by 2 and special defense by 2. So wow, look at how much more you can do with Zapdos. He can not only do all that stuff that I mentioned before, but he can also lower stats. So other good tiles that you can do, you don't really need to go with this stat lowering build. You can also go with more damage build. So Brain Power and Furious Brain increases your sync move and specials. Your sync move and your normal move respectively if your special attack is increased. And also there is built-in vigilance and impermanence if you want to go for a more defensive build, and having vigilance in the sync grid is really helpful because now you can use another lucky skill. And there's also Team Sync 9, which is really good because you can further increase special move up next effect after you use a sync move. It can only happen once, but hey, extra damage. So yeah, Zapdos can heal himself really well, can heal others, can attack for free, can buff defense, can buff special defense, can buff special attack, can buff crit, can buff speed, can power all sync moves, can apply special move up next effect, can flinch, can confuse, can paralyze, can lower attack, can lower special attack, can lower special defense, can lower defense. Holy moly, Zapdos can do a lot. Next unit. Leaf. Champion Leaf is our third and final Neo Champion unit. She is going to be Tech, of course, and has Moltres, of course. Gotta fill in the missing gaps. Cancel Pride, so can powers up physical attacks now. So very similarly to Signasuit Lyra, which can increase attack, right? With the passive, a Love of Palette lowers attack, special attack, and defense by 1 stat after this Pokemon uses a stats move. Alright, let's see what stats move that applies to. Leer. Alright, so now Leer, note that it only hits one opponent, but Leer can lower defense, attack, special defense, and special attack. That's a lot of stat lowering that Moltres can do with just Leer. Also, the Sky Illuminating and White Blaze. So very similarly to the previous two units, whenever Moltres actually use Leer, that is when it applies the Fire type rebuff. And when they use a Sync move, that again applies the Fire type rebuff. Team Solar Immunity. So when the weather is sunny, stats conditions and stats changes like flinching and confused cannot be inflicted to any of your allies. That's super good as like a defensive option right there, so that you don't get randomly inflicted with stat condition or flinched, which can be really sucky. Looking at the stats, I mean, these are what you expect out of a Tech Sync pair. Very good HP, very good attack, pretty decent defense, and pretty decent speed. Tech units always have really good stat distributions. We already mentioned Leer. Leaf also has Potion, very similarly to Cygnus Seed Leaf, which has Venusaur. She also is a tech, and she also has Potion. So you can have healing options. Glory of the Flame raises the user special attack and attack by 6 and raise crit by 3. Notice that Leaf's normal attack is physical, and her sync move is special. And so, hey, I guess she's a mixed attacker. And then Flare Blitz, again, can only happen when there's a rebuff and gets disactivated when there's no rebuff. Keep in mind that it can use an infinite amount of times, so that's pretty good. Removes Frozen, which is useless, honestly, and has a 10% chance of burning. That's pretty useless as well. If the target stat is lower, the amount of decrease is doubled. I actually don't really know what this means. Does it mean that when you have, let's say you use Leer, you have the opponent has 1 lower defense. When you use this, does it go to like 2? And then when you use it again, does the lower defense go to 4? Is that what it means? I'm not exactly sure. I'm assuming that's what it means, but I'm not exactly sure what this means here. That if the target stat is lower, it doubles the amount. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I mean, it seems pretty strong. It seems like lowering stat happens a lot when you use Flare Blitz, I'm pretty sure. And it also makes the weather sunny the first time this is used. Wow, that's really good, because it's another way you can cast a Sunny Day without really needing to use a move that is bad, because this move does a lot of damage, and again, the stat lowering is nice. And then the Sync move basically does more damage the more the stat has been lowered on an opponent. And keep in mind, you will be having Leer, you will be having this Love of Palette passive, and also the Flare Blitz double the amount of decrease, so you will be able to easily lower stats, I believe. Her Sync Grid, I went with more of, I'm going to use her as a Syncer. I'm going to use her as a Syncer first because she has Solar Sync. Yes, she can apply Sunny Day after you use a Sync move. And with a Drought Alert, after she syncs, she'll cast Sunny Day. And then the next time you sync, because of Drought Alert, the Sunny Day will still be up. So you'll be able to take advantage of that Sunny Day during your second Sync move, which could be from Moltres or it could be another unit. Keep in mind that this isn't Solarized. So you won't always be able to have Sunny Day. You only have Sunny the first time you sync. And then Mighty Affliction 2, 30% chance of raising your own physical move up next effect after you use a status move. So you use Leer, and there's a good chance that your Flare Blitz might be doing a little bit extra damage. Power Play, so again, very similar to the Sync moves tag. Basically, more stats is lower, the more your Sync move does more damage. So Moltres has the potential of being able to do big Sync move damage. Other things that I want to talk about, or other ties I want to talk about, Insult to Injury. So you're going to be lowering defense from Leer, right? And so, hey, you can do more damage from your Flare Blitz if your opponent's defense is lowered a lot. Also, Catalytic Acceleration is pretty good too, because Moltres probably will not be your only unit that you're going to be attacking with, so being able to apply the move gauge acceleration effect as you use a Sync move can be really helpful to keeping up with the move, with your moves. And then you can have a Potion build. Keep in mind that Moltres does have Potion, so you can have somewhat of a support Moltres build, just to have her cast Sunny Day, and then you can use potions to heal your tank or healer, or you heal your tank or support unit. I think that this is also a time where I talk about Leaf. Leaf is also in the trainer lounge, and she is going to be support. He's going to be support 4-star. Again, these units aren't really good, so I don't really want to talk about her too much. She gets gradual healing when she's summoned, which is pretty good because she can heal. And she has charging infliction 1 after she uses a status move. She gets charge move gauge by 1. So she has metronome. So metronome costs 1. However, with this passive, she'll always get 1 move gauge back. And metronome can be very interesting. She doesn't have the highest of attacks and defense and I guess stats in general. So she won't be using. So her metronomes won't be that potent. But hey, they are basically free. And then another stats move, I guess, is Moonlight. Moonlight costs 2, and you can heal yourself. Depending on the weather, you can heal yourself anywhere from 40 to 60%. Which is good for your support unit. You want to be able to heal yourself. That's nice. And Hidden with Love, you'll be able to raise the attack and special attack of all ally sync bearers by 2. You can only use this twice. So you're going to need a move point recovery or move point refresh 2, which is helpful. If this triggers, you'll be able to fully raise your team's attack and special attack. But the other thing I have on my sync grid is just more metronome support. You're probably going to be using metronome a lot. And so being able to raise your defense and special defense potentially is pretty decent. Being able to also raise your evasiveness is pretty decent when you use metronome because, again, Clefairy will be your support unit. And so you probably, it will be good to be able to dodge hits. And again, you'll be healing yourself with Moonlight. You can also have a Moonlight build so that you really have a lot of self-healing. Or you can have a disarming build, disarming voice. Again, it hits everybody, so you can lower everybody's special attack if you're into that. Or you can confuse everybody. That's good too. So yeah, not the greatest unit, but hey, she's a free unit. And I mean, hey, metronome. If you don't have Elisa, if you don't have seasonal Elisa and you don't have seasonal Berg, I think this is the first time you get metronome. I think this is the first time you get metronome on a non-limited unit. So it's going to be very fun testing out metronome for us people who don't have metronome seasonal units. The next unit we have is Palmer. We're finally getting Luca's dad. Palmer is a striker and he's using Regigigas. Yeah, Regigigas has a very interesting build because it kind of takes inspiration. It kind of takes inspiration from his slow start passive in the normal game. I guess slow start ability in the normal game. But basically, when you have a sync buff activated, so you have to sync before you get this first passive to activate. After you use a move, you can increase your physical move up next effect by 3. So you sync, you have a sync buff, and then you use a move with Regigigas, and then you can finally get a the physical move up next effect by 3. So that's super good. And so after that, every subsequent move, because you'll always be having your sync buff, will always grant you 3 physical move up next effect. And of course, you'll be using that every time you attack, I should say. And then also you get a free move after you use a sync move and after you use a max move. So that's pretty good because Regigigas moves are very expensive, costing 4. All of them cost 4. I guess normal wish costs 2, but all the attacks cost 4. And so having a free move after your sync move and having a free move after your max move is really helpful. I didn't mention normal zones, normal wish. So yes, Regigigas is able to cast a normal zone, which increases the moves of your normal attack, which, I mean, basically only really buffs Palmer himself. So that's pretty nice. Crush Grip, very similar to Ethan's Eruption and Typhlosion, because the lower HP you have, the less damage the move does. However, it does do a lot of damage base, like 260 seems like a lot, so that's pretty good. You've come this far, so this move is the self-buff move, so it raises attack by 3, raise crit by 2, and increases the physical move up next effect by 1. So if you use this move twice, you'll have full attack, full crit, and you'll have 2 instances of physical move up next effect. Pretty strong. You have Giga Impact afterwards. Giga Impact seems... you have to use moves, either sync move or max move. Or Regigigas has to use it for 5 times. So basically, after the first sync move, like before the second sync move, you probably get to be able to use Giga Impact. And it'll lower defense by 6 and restore your HP by 50%. Lowering defense by 6 is super good because now your moves would do even more damage. Keep in mind that this happens pretty late into the battle, so you won't really get this early on. but you will be able to restore your HP by 50%. Again, you're going to be using Giga Impact later on in the battle, so your opponent probably already synced moved, and so you've already taken some damage, and so you can heal that right back up, so that your Crush Grip will do more damage. Regigigas also has a max move, which lowers speed of all your opposing all the opposing opponents by 2. But this also does a lot of damage. So under normal wish, your max move will do a ton of damage. Your normal move or your max move actually does more than Giga Impact. So that's pretty sick. Palmer's sync grid, I kind of went with a sync move build or sync move build where he has Haymaker and Soften Up 1. So the more the increases, more attacks increase, and more his sync move does. But also it always crits. We have combo freebie 2, so 30% chance of applying free move next effect after attacking was successful. This is pretty good because again, Regigigas move cost a lot, so being able to have them be free is really good. And also Furious Brawn just to increase the normal moves that Regigigas has. The more the attack, Regigigas attack is raised. And some other things. Tile is max slip up 2, I should say, and just lower speed by 2. Note that the max move already lowers speed by 2, and so now your max move lowers speed by 4 if you have this tile, 4 in total if you have this tile selected. And then that all of a sudden frees up his other synchro tiles, so you can do more normal move damage because the target has lower speed, or you can do more sync move damage because the opponent has lower speed. And that's basically all I really want to talk about Regigigas' sync grid. I will be going back to Regigigas here. I think his good sequencing, what you want to do is you want to use we'll come this far twice, and then you want to sync move. You want to use normal wish. In that case, you will be able to get full buffs, and you will not use this physical move up next effect yet. And then normal wish, use normal wish, and then you can either sync move with Regigigas so that you take advantage of the normal wish and also take advantage of Haymaker and Soften Up 1, or you can sync move with a support sync pair to get the extra sync move buff, the extra sync buffs. And then after that, you're probably going to be using Crushing Grip. You're going to be using up your physical move up next effect buffs. And then after Crush Grip, you're going to be using Max Strike or Giga Impact. You'll probably use Giga Impact if you haven't used, or if you synced, then you can use Giga Impact. But if you have a sync with Regigigas, you use Max Strike. And then finally, you can use Giga Impact. Hopefully, normal wish that you use before your sync move is still active so that your Giga Impact does damage. But yeah, I think that's the Regigigas and Palmer sequencing. Or that's the thing I would think that you would use. So that's not bad. So yeah, Regigigas seems to do a lot of damage. But keep in mind that he is normal. And I will come back to him again at the end of this video because I do have major complaints about Palmer. I haven't mentioned it yet, and I did mention it in my previous recording, but I didn't mention it in this recording, so I guess I'll have to mention it later. Argenta is our other frontier brain that we get. She is going to be support, and she has Skarmory, so that's pretty cool. And basically, to sum up all her passives, every time she uses Sword Dance, and only Sword Dance, every time she uses Sword Dance, not only does her own attack get raised by 2, but your other allies' attack get raised by 2. Also, every time you use Sword Dance, your whole team accuracy raises by 2. And also, every time you use Sword Dance, the physical move up next effect is applied to all your allies. So if you use Sword Dance 3 times, your attack is fully raised, your accuracy is fully raised from all your allies, and also your all your allies get put 3 physical move up next effects. Obviously, if you use physical moves, then the counter will reset. But in total, you get 3 to all your allies, which is pretty strong. Skarmory also has Dire Hit All, which is able to raise everybody's critical hit rate by 2. So if you use it twice, it maxes everyone's crit rate up. And then Keep With It. Keep With It is a passive, or it's the trainer move that raises defense and speed of all your ally sync pairs by 4. And it gives the enduring effect of all your ally sync pairs. Being able to give 4 speed to all your ally sync pairs is super strong because now you're going to be using a lot of moves quickly. Keep in mind that Sword Dance does cost 2 move gauge, and so you will be using move gauges to be buffing with Sword Dance if you decide to use Sword Dance. So having this +4 speed is pretty good if you want to use it before your Sword Dances. And again, the enduring effect is really nice. Sync move, nothing really special. She does have max move, max steel pike, which raises defense by 2 of all your allies. So if you use the max steel pike along with keep with it, you'll fully max out your defense, which is fun. And then you have max guard, which is able to give a damage guard to probably your tank. Also, I didn't mention this, but holy crap, Skarmory's defenses! Look at this. I mean, I talked about Blue and his defenses and HP being good. Mate, Skarmory's up there too. I mean, maybe not as much speed and HP. Well, wow, look at these defenses. So Skarmory does still have a lot of defense and can play as a really good tank, especially a defensive tank. Just like in the normal Pokemon games, right? My Skarmory sync rate here, I really want to take advantage of a quicker buff sequence. So having a Team Sharp Entry 1 makes it so that I only need to use critical hit rate all once to be able to fully raise the crit rate of all my allies. I also put some defensive options on my Skarmory, having Vigilance and First Aid 4 for extra heals. Keep in mind we do have Endurance, so this always triggers. Vigilance is also nice. It frees up your Lucky skill so that you can use your Lucky skill for something else. And also, Sword Dance team, Inflict and Heal 3. So you'll only be able to use Sword Dance 3 times unless your Skarmory has its attack lowered by the enemy. But you'll only be able to use Sword Dance 3 times. So you'll only get 3 chances of healing your allies. But hey, you know, healing yourself using Sword Dance is pretty good. Other good sync grids is Max Barricade Buddy 2. So here you can raise your special defense of all your allies after using a max move. That could be good. Quick tempo and Sword Dance Infliction freebie 9. If you have a hard time being able to use all your Sword Dances in time because you're attacking with your other units, having quick tempo and Sword Dance Infliction freebie 9 can really help use a Sword Dance for essentially free and really cheap, so you can buff. Not using a lot of using a lot of move gauges, and also some keep up with it bonuses. So keep up with it move point refresh. If you have this selected, you can fully raise your speed, and also you can apply endurance again. So if your endurance runs out for your Skarmory, if you use this right before you die, you can get another instance of endurance, which is super strong. You can also keep with it. Hit and Heal 9, which applies healing to Skarmory. Hey, gradual healing on Skarmory, more healing is nice. And then also Team Brawn gain 9, so you can increase the physical move up, physical move up next effect to all your allies by 1. So that's pretty strong too if you want to do more damage with her. So I think there's a lot of things that she can do. The next unit I want to talk about, but I don't think I'm going to be able to discuss him really well, is Paulo. He's a sprint unit, and like I mentioned, last time I reviewed a sprint unit. I don't know exactly how good sprint units are because I don't use them. I haven't used them yet. And like in theory, I don't really think sprint units are that good because you'd rather just push more damage syncing with a striker or push more buffs by syncing with a support. Because if you're trying to sync to buff, then syncing with a support unit is always better because it counts as 2 sync moves as opposed to a sprint sync move, which only counts as like 1.5 sync move. But anyways, he is going to be a sprint 5-star, and he's using Lycanroc. Paulo's Resolve special passive basically reduces the sync move countdown by 1 after using a max move, which is pretty good because max move normally doesn't lower the sync move countdown. So having that super nice. Also extends the duration of Sandstorm when it is used, and it protects all the ally sync pairs from damage from Sandstorm. So very similar to Irida and Hail. Irida, when cast Hail, doesn't inflict Hail damage to the allies. So when you use Max Rockfall, which creates a Sandstorm, is a max move that creates a Sandstorm. Sandstorm is extended, which is nice, and also Sandstorm does not do any damage to you. and also reduce the sync move countdown by 1, which is pretty good. Stats are pretty good. If you look at these stats, I feel like they're more of a tech stats, because high attack, very high speed. So yeah, in terms of stat distribution, kind of like a tech unit, pretty good. Stone Edge, keep in mind there's no way you can raise your accuracy. You can't raise your accuracy without a grid, so your Stone Edge is not going to hit very often. And a Cell Rock. So a Cell Rock with these two passives, a Cell Rock will always lower the opponent's, or you will lower your sync move countdown by 1 every time you use a Cell Rock, but also it applies the physical move up next effect when you use a Cell Rock. So when you use a Cell Rock, lowers the sync move countdown, and also it makes your next Cell Rock or Stone Edge stronger. Gotta Think reduces the sync move countdown by 1, which is pretty good, to be honest with you. It wasn't good in the case of in the case of Red, but it's good in this case, because again, you want to pump out your sprint sync move as fast as possible. And it also raises the user attack by 4 and raise crit by 2. Raising attack by 4 isn't that bad, because as you see later, Willful Howl will fully increase your attack, which is fine. Raising your crit rate by 2, again, is not really good, because your Cell Rock won't be doing a lot of damage. And your sync move and your max move will less likely be hitting crits. But your Stone Edges, because critical hits land more easily with Stone Edge, your Stone Edge will always be 100% crit rate with Gotta Think. Willful Howl, you're going to be, after you use a sync move, you can use this, and then it deactivates because you can only use it once. It targets all allies, and it actually buffs all your allies, depending on how much move gauge you use. If you use 3 move gauge, you're going to be buffing your defense, everyone's defense, everyone's attack, everyone's special defense, and everyone's speed by 4. And it also gives the physical move up next effect to all your allies by 2, which is very strong. This sprint unit, and also the sync move increases power during Sandstorm. I feel like this sprint unit is super good as a support unit. I don't think you're going to be using Paulo as your main source of damage dealing, but I think, the sequence here, well, let's actually go with the sync grid first. I have Head Start 1 at 5 copies. You're going to need 5 copies to get Head Start 1. But if you have Head Start 1, then your move countdown is going to be lowered by 1, which means that if you use Gotta Think, it lowers the move countdown by 1. Also, when you it lowers the move down by 1. And then when you use a Cell Rock, it lowers the sync move countdown by 1. So Head Start, Gotta Think, a Cell Rock, you're going to be lowering the countdown by an additional 3 in 2 turns. With Head Start, your Paulo can sync move in only 2 turn cycles instead of the normal 3 turn cycles. So that's why it's very powerful to have Head Start 1. Sharp Entry 1 to fully raise a Lycan Rock's sync critical hit rate, because again, it will be very valuable, because you will be using the sync move with Paulo to get the acceleration, and you will be using the max move, so it'll be nice to have max crit rate if possible. A Cell Rock defense destroyer 9, so you can use a Cell Rock 3 times, and if you use all 3 times, then you can lower the opponent's defense by 3 each time, which again, if you're going to use Paulo paired with another a physical rock striker or a damage dealer, then you can fully raise lower defense, which is pretty good. Add in Surging Sand and Surging Sand just to power up moves during Sandstorm. And also, I'm not really gonna talk about the rest of the sync grids. There's like a Sandstorm build that you can do. You can also do more damage and more attack your raise. So there's a few things you can do with the sync grid. But yeah, I think Paulo, the sequence is if you have him at 5 copies, which is a lot, you use Gotta Think and a Cell Rock, and then you use the sync move. If you don't have him at 5 copies, then you probably use Gotta Think, and then you use a Cell Rock twice. And then after that, you use Willful Howl, and then you use the max move. Willful Howl will buff everybody attack, and then you use your max move to create Sandstorm. And then after that, you're ready for your next sync move. And then after that, you can use sync move with Olivia, and then boom, Olivia is going to do big damage. Or you can use sync move for any other physical rock striker. And that can be very powerful. So I think Paulo is a really good support character in terms of supporting your other units to do more damage. Paulo probably does decent damage himself. But yeah, I'm just a little bit confused about how sprint characters work and what the role should be in the game. I really do need to get a sprint character so I can test them out. But I think Paulo's pretty decent. The last unit is Tina. Yeah, Tina is a 4-star support character. So really, there isn't really much to say about her. She's not really going to be good. She's a 4-star support, so she's going to be very similar to Leaf, Trainer Lounge Leaf, which maybe not that good, but hey, something. Has endurance. Hey, that's pretty good. So can at least take 2 hits. So again, as your support unit, being able to take more hits than can handle is pretty good. Also applies the move gauge acceleration after you use a status move, which is pretty good. And also raises the special defense of all your ally sync pairs by 2 after you use a trainer move. Pretty good. Stats are pretty lackluster. I mean, they're okay, but I mean, yeah, it's a support unit. That's a 4-star, so not very good. Charm here is going to be lowering your opponent attack. So what you use is Charm, which lowers your opponent attack, raises your allies' special defense by 2, and also gives you the move gauge acceleration, which is nice. You can use Flame Charge, which raises your own speed, but keep in mind Flame Charge does not raise special defense, or it does not give you the move gauge acceleration effect because it's not a status move. Flareon also can fully raise a crit rate of all your ally sync pairs, making her pretty decent because, yeah, she's able to raise crit, and raising crit is always valuable. And then we're going to, so can raise attack, defense, special defense, and speed of all your ally sync pairs by 1. That is pretty weird. Pretty weird if I have to do say so myself. There's a lot of weird stats there. But hey, defense and speed is pretty good. Sync Grid, I don't really know what to do. I have her as a charm build. So she's going to be charming and raising special defense and also potential chance of healing all your ally sync pairs. Again, you can only really use charm 3 times, but you could switch targets with charm, and then you can continue using charm. So you can get a lot of healing done there. And then first aid can heal themselves. And then team-wise entry 1 can raise special defense when Flareon enters battle. Can also raise defense with other grids. Has a sun build if you want to do sun. Trip up is super nice too if you want to be able to lower your opponent's speed while also raising your speed. Your flare charge will be able to lower your opponent's speed and raise your own speed. So if you're into that, you can do that as well. And that's it for the talking about the units. I don't think I mentioned this in this recording, but I mentioned it the last time I recorded this video. Is all this information is all thanks to Serebii.com or Serebii.net, I should say, and Reddit, the Pokemon Masters Subreddit. Also, that Pokemon Sync Grid tool that I use is pretty good too. And of course, all the people that work behind the scenes for all this stuff. So big thanks to all those people. I didn't mention that, but I did mention it last video at the beginning. I don't remember mentioning it in this video at the beginning, but so I'll mention it now. Anyways, let's just talk about my plans for these few units. Our summary, like I mentioned, the Master Pairs are really good. I will be pulling for Red, Blue, and Leaf. I think that, I mean, I was probably going to pull for Blue nevertheless because, pretty sad what happened to Blue's English voice actor. So, I would definitely pull for Blue just to support his cause and his family, like I mentioned. Well, I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but I'm mentioning it now. So yeah, but I will be pulling for Leaf and Red. I think Red is going to be super interesting because I have Irida at 3 copies. And I'm also going to get Blue, and I'm also going to get Cynthia. Or I also have Renegade Cynthia. So not Renegade Cynthia or Cynthia. So I will be able to fully take advantage of the 9 special move up next effect. And I think Red is going to do crazy damage. I'm so excited to test how much damage will 9 special move up next effect will grant Red's sync move and Red's first instance of Frozen Wings Ice Cream. because I think it's going to do so much damage, especially with Irida. So I think he's really good. But without Irida, I think he's really good by himself as well. If you don't have Irida and you need an ice unit, I mean, Red and Article is really good. I have to put him S tier. I feel like his damage potential is really high. Honestly, he might be SS tier depending on how much damage he does. But I'm going to put him in S tier because I'm not exactly sure how much damage he's going to do. So we have to see. And of course, you do kind of need other units to do even more damage. So you do need someone to set up Ice Zone and Hail, which is Irida, right? So I think he's S. I think Blue is the best support character in the game. Hands down, I think he is the best character coming out during this anniversary, and I think he is straight up the best support character in the game. I'm going to say it now, I think he's S tier. I only put a few characters in my SS tier in my head. I only a few characters I put in that tier. Thunderbolt Ash, not Thunderbolt Ash. Thunderbolt Red gets put in that tier because he's super easy to use and versatile. I also put Ash in that tier because he just does a lot of damage very easily. And then I also put Signa Suit Lyra and Serebii in that tier because Signa Suit Lyra 100% flinch, which is extremely powerful in this game. But Blue also goes there because Blue is a great support. I mentioned last Datamine that support I feel like has 3 sub roles. There's a healer, there's a tank, and there's a buffer. Blue can heal super well because of Roost. He tanks super well because of his defense and HP, and also his tanking health because of he can raise his defense and special defense pretty high. And also his support, he's really good at raising speed, so you don't need to you need to worry less about the move gauge. He can fully raise crit. He can fully raise special attack. He can give the special move up next effect to all your allies, so he's a really good buffer. Keep in mind, he also has some utility. He can paralyze, he can flinch, he can confuse, he can lower attack, special attack. Like, the dude has it all. He's super good. And oh yeah, by the way, he also powers up the sync move of all your ally sync pairs. Oh yeah, and he also applies electric rebuff. So he's super strong in Double Rat. Double Rat was already super strong. Double Rat, by the way, is Thunderbolt Red and Pikachu and Ash and Pikachu. So this team, you're gonna have triple Kanto master passes. Holy crap, this team is going to be absolutely insane. Again, in my opinion, 3 out of the 4 SS units are in one team and they all work together perfectly. Holy goodness. But Blue is still good outside of that team. That's what makes him so good. Again, if you need a buffer, boom, he's a buffer. If you need a healer, boom, you have a healer. If you need a tank, boom, you have a tank. Like, what can't he do? What can't he do? Oh, he can't apply Enduring to all your allies, which Argenta can. And classic Sigma Suit Blue can. So I guess he can't apply Enduring. He's SS tier. He's really good. Leaf, I am a bit more confused about Leaf. I think she's a great support character. A great Sunny Day support character. But think about all the good Sunny Day support characters we have. We have Sigma Suit Erica, who's super strong. We have Morty with Ho-Oh, who's a great support character. We also have Sunny Day with Datamine and Leafeon. He's super strong. And don't forget about Sigma Suit Acerola. I mean, she's an incredibly potent Sunny Day setter and can really power up your physical moves. So Leaf has a lot of competition. For Sunny Day. Don't forget a freaking Flygon and Rayhan. They can do Sunny Day too. Although I don't think a lot of people have him. So yeah, the problem with Leaf is that she just has a lot of competition, I feel. I think about the other fire type strikers in the game, or the fire type units in the game. For example, Anniversary N. I'm thinking of Sigma Suit Hilda with Victini. I'm thinking about classic Sigma Suit Red. I think she's a bit better than them because she is able to summon Sunny Day on her own, so she's a bit more self-sufficient. And she applies rebuff. None of those units that I mentioned applies rebuff. So I think she's just slightly better. Than like Hilda and Anniversary N. But she better be because she is a 1% Master Fair. So yeah, I don't know if I want to put her in S tier or A tier. I think she deserves S tier. Low S. She's also a pretty great debuffer as well with her Leer. So I think she is low A tier or low S tier or maybe even A tier. Cause yeah, I don't think she's that good. I think she's the worst out of the 3 units, but hey, I could be wrong. Again, she has a lot of competition with Sunny Day users. Palmer, I don't like him. I think he is B tier. B tier for me is he's good. He's not great. A tier is great. He's B tier. He's good. He's definitely good because he can do a ton of damage. I mean, look at these base powers. All right, look at 260, 400, 450. He does a lot of damage, and his passive skill increases his physical damage even more, even further, giving him 3 stacks of physical move up next effect every time he uses a move. The problem is, normal zone doesn't have extension, so you're gonna be wasting more turns using normal zone, which sucks. Okay, or yeah, normal wish. I should say normal zone. So he had no extension, and so potentially if you use normal zone too early, you might not even get normal zone when you use Giga Impact. So you have to really time it carefully. And also, the obvious reason why Regigigas isn't good, he's normal type. So you're never going to hit super effectiveness moves. So in Champion Stadium, he's going to be pretty bad because you can't get those free 300 points. But yeah, never hitting a super effectiveness move, it doesn't matter if he does a lot of damage. If he can't hit a super effectiveness move, then they're just going to be better, simply just going to be better options. So yeah, I don't like Regigigas at all. I think he's good, but I don't think he's great. So he's B tier. Argenta. Now this is an interesting unit because I think she compares to classic Hilbert and Oshawott. Both these units are able to fully raise attack, fully raise critical hit rate, can both raise defense, can both raise speed. But I think Hilbert is a bit better. Simply because Hilbert can flinch, and he can also buff your physical strikers in only 2 turns. So that makes him really good. Argenta, it takes at least 5 turns if you want to fully buff attack and defense. Sometimes you don't need to fully buff attack and defense. Sometimes the striker units can fully buff themselves. But Argenta, if you want to do that role, takes a lot longer. And she can't flinch. However, she can apply Enduring to all your ally sync pairs. So not only herself, Hilbert does apply Endurance to himself, but Argenta can apply Endurance to all your other units. So I think Argenta is a little bit less in terms of how I would rank her for Hilbert. But Hilbert's still S tier. I think Hilbert is S support, so Argenta has to be A support using that logic. Sorry, I had to clear my throat there. I think Paulo is still pretty good. I think he is a good support sync pair. I think he's at least A tier, but again, it's hard for me to judge since he's sprint. I think he's at least A tier. I'm gonna think he's really good with Olivia or any rock physical type strikers, but it's just hard for me to judge how much damage he does. And if literally we're not using him and just using a support sync move, is that just literally better? I'm not sure. I shouldn't say literally better. Is that always better? Because he does summon Sandstorm, which is really nice. So I think he's at least A tier. He might be S tier depending on how good sprint sync pairs are. Or yeah, sprint sync pairs are. But I'm going to put him in A tier. At least he might be S tier. He might deserve S tier. Tina, I mean, she's not good. She's okay because she can... she's usable because she can buff crit. So I put her in C tier. She's C tier because she can buff crit. She's usable. And hey, I mean, raising special defense is pretty decent too. And maybe she's B tier. Maybe she's on the same tier as Palmer. I also forgot to mention Leaf's Clefairy. Again, I'll probably have to put that C, maybe B tier, C tier because I think she is usable because she is fully able to fully raise attack and special attack. So that's not bad. And also, Metronome is fun, and she can self-heal herself. So maybe B tier, maybe the same tier as Palmer. Sorry, Palmer, you're that bad. But yeah, that's probably how I'll rank Leaf. So I'm rolling for red, blue, Leaf. I'm skipping everybody else, essentially, this anniversary. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this video was under an hour long, even though I already recorded this. This is my second time recording this. Hopefully I went by a lot faster. But next time, we'll be talking about this Team Rocket sync pairs and then the Battle Point sync pairs. So yeah, thank you for watching, and Blue is amazing, and you should roll for him. Lol.